My name is Brian Gevelb.
And my name is Michael Yershon.
He thinks.
And we met when we were 14 in 1956. Of course, we're going to be 80 this year. We met at Brady and we became firm friends at Brady. And then we used to come to Skeet together.
It is true, yes.
It's your turn now.
My turn now. Yes, we thoroughly enjoyed coming to Skeet. It was a way of getting the East End boys out of the East End into the country. We knew what a cow looked like. Cows, trees, grass, playing fields, marvellous. We couldn't get down there quick enough.
We used to meet outside Whitechapel Station and get a ticket to Knockholt Station. And in order to do that, we went to New Cross,
yeah.
And then changed onto the overhead to Knockholt, and then got out at Knockholt and walked across the fields until we literally, maybe half an hour later, got to Skeet.
No, we used to get a taxi sometimes.
Sometimes we used to get a taxi. About six of us.
I think it was about 30 pence to get.
Yeah. But do you remember when we first got here, we used to have to peel potatoes.
Absolutely. Yep.
We used to have to wash up.
Yep. All the chores that you would do.
Do you remember the initiation?
Yeah.
Well, how were you initiated? Do you remember?
You were blindfolded.
Yeah.
And Yogi gave us a whole story, which I can't recollect. But at the end of it, it was about a pirate with a squishy eye. And what he did was he got a squishy tomato, and he pushed your finger inside this squishy tomato because you thought he was pushing in the pirate's squishy eye. There was a lot of screaming.
Yeah. My initiation was the Rag family.
Oh.
They used to line up and each of them were introduced. So you walked along the line in your initiation. This is Father Rag. This is Mrs. Rag. This is their son, John Rag. This is their daughter, Helen Rag. And then the last one in the line had a wet rag. So he's pushed it in your face. And this is wet rag.
Yeah, very basic, but it was a lot of fun. A lot of screaming again, but it was all fun.
What about on the Saturday afternoon? We had to all go into our rooms.
Oh, yeah.
And each room had to do a sketch.
Yeah.
So we literally had to start from scratch and develop a sketch that the people in the room would perform to the rest of the boys who were down here. So each room then got their turn.
Yeah.
It was an amazing way of developing your personality and being able to talk to people.
Well, there was a lot of kids who came down who were a bit introvert, I suppose you'd say, or a bit shy. By the time they left this place, they were well up front, weren't they, for everything?
Yeah, and it was freezing. There was no central heating here,
no.
And there were no fires, and in the winter it was absolutely freezing, and you weren't allowed to sleep in your pants or your vest. You were allowed to bring pyjamas, but Yogi would come and inspect that you didn't have a vest on or you didn't have a hot water bottle or something.
Mind you, when we got older, we were too busy in the blanket cupboard playing cards, weren't we?
Yogi discovered us in the blanket cupboard playing cards, and it was Brian's cards.
Yes.
And he took the cards and he, in front of Brian, tore up one of the cards, which obviously made the whole pack useless.
Yeah.
Do you remember there was a landing and stairs at the back of the attic? So if you were sleeping in the attic, you could come down the stairs.
Wasn't there a little door?
And they led to the fireplace in the lounge. And we used to go when there were mixed weekends. I think once a year we would have mixed weekends at Whitsun. And the girls would sleep in Lady Cynthia, and you used to be able to come down from the attic and peep through the keyhole of Lady Cynthia.
You're not supposed to say things like that.
And then we'd go on a ramble to Pratt's Bottom.
Yeah.
Which was quite a long way.
Quite a long walk, yeah. I tried very hard to get out of that one.
Yeah. And
but we used to play games and obstacle games.
Deck tennis. We used
Deck
to have
tennis,
a
yeah.
game called deck tennis, which I don't think exists anymore, with a quoit.
It's quoits.
And it's where the present swimming pool is, the area where the swimming pool is. We used to play deck tennis there. We had championships.
Yeah, but we used to do obstacle games, didn't we? With the young, when we became seniors, with the younger kid, the juniors,
Yeah.
they started at the top of the house, and they had to sort of make their way past all these obstacles to get down to the bottom, and touch a pole or something. And I was stationed at one of these windows once, and I could hear all the clambering of their feet coming down the stairs. And what were they supposed to do was come up to me, put the fire harness, and go out the window and lower themselves to the floor. Well, this one kid, he was so excited, bless him, he come flying down there at a rate of knots. Don't bother with the harness. He went straight out of the window. I couldn't believe it.
This was the window in the attic.
Yeah.
You used to have to put a harness
Put a
on.
fire
They were called,
harness.
it was called a Davy harness.
Yeah.
And it was the fire escape drill that you had to do at the beginning of the weekend.
I couldn't
And
believe
the only way to escape, and it's still the same now, although there's
Yeah.
no harness, it was out of the window
Yeah.
in the attic.
And he went straight
And-
out the
and
window.
You had to lower yourself. Was he killed?
No, I just looked, I said, you, are you all
Did
right?
you save him?
He just rolled over and looked up at me and just carried on because he was
But
so
he
excited.
didn't come out the window. He'd have been
He
killed.
did, he came out the window. No,
Oh,
it wasn't the top floor. Don't be silly.
It wasn't on the top floor?
No, he would have been dead.
Okay. And what else do I remember?
Oh, it was like...
What about the flag ceremony? We had a Brady flag.
Oh, yeah.
And there would be about 50 or 60 of us
round the flag,
in all
yeah.
the different rooms.
Yeah.
Maybe Cynthia was have about 15, the others might have 8 or 10. And we'd all gather outside in what is now a gravel path, but it was a lawn.
Yeah, that's right.
And there was a flagpole, and we'd sing the Brady song and run the flag up the flagpole.
Yeah, one year when the flagpole,
Oh, it collapsed.
they hit Mr. Ruddock on the back of the
Oh
head.
dear, poor Mr. Ruddock.
We all stood there watching this flagpole. Suddenly, nobody said a word. We watched this
Yeah,
flagpole.
they used to have housekeepers
Yeah,
who were full-time housekeepers and cooks, and they lived here. They actually lived on the top floor where the attic and showroom are now, and their meals were fantastic. We had so much fun,
lovely people.
and the meals were fantastic. But you've got to remember that there were no golf courses in Stepney, so we never saw any green.
No,
We all grew up in bomb ruins.
Yep.
Because we were the first generation after the war
yeah.
that hadn't been evacuated. And that's really our experience of the club. It was between, I was 14, so it's 1956 that I joined, and there were bomb ruins all over the place where I lived, and we played in the bomb ruins. We didn't know there
that
was
was our
anything
playground.
different.
A bombed out building, a bombed out cinema, anything.
And Skeet was essentially the same fabric as it is now, but obviously it's been dramatically upgraded over many different inputs over the years. There was a table tennis table, and maybe 20 boys would stand round the table. One boy would pick up a bat and hit it over to the other side. The person on the other side would hit it back. They would put the bat on the table. The next one would pick it up, knock it back to the other side, and then the next one on the other side would pick it up and knock it back. So you would keep going around the table. Obviously you had to get faster and faster because there was,
Less and less
until there were
boys.
only 2 people left. And then the 2 people would play a game of maybe 5 points to establish the winner. We would take a picnic to Pratt's Bottom. Now, Pratt's Bottom, it's got to be a good 5, maybe more miles from here. And it's down these windy lanes. So one person, Yogi, for example, would know how to get there. And we would get there as a group and have our picnic that we'd all take down that had been prepared by the Ruddocks. But the difficulty I particularly remember is that we didn't go back as a group. So you were left to your own devices,
Yeah.
and we ended up having to phone the house. And I remember the number. It was MM 23513,
What, Skeet?
Skeet's number. And I remember dialing it and saying, "We're lost. Could someone come and get us?" And so obviously you had to communicate with the person who was here, who had a car. And I remember Ronnie Usiskin had a Vauxhall Cresta,
Blimey.
and he came out and he managed to find us, and we got a lift back.
Didn't somebody have some kind of truck? Used to go down to Pratt's Bottoming as well.
Yeah, they may have taken the picnics down there
that's
in the
right,
truck.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, but that Pratt's Bottom was at a mixed weekend, so that was always at Whitsun. And in fact, that's really where I met my wife, because she was a member of the Girls Club, and we would all gather in the lounge in the evening, and I remember Rita sitting on my lap.
Never.
Yeah, that was an amazing experience. I think I was only 14 at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was great. It took us out of the East End. That was the main object. It took us out of the East End. We all grouped together, and we're still all lifelong friends. I would say, ones that are still standing. So, it's.
But we haven't told anyone about what happened when you used to organise adult weekends.
1990 was the first one.
Okay. So what happened in 1990? How many of us came down, would you say?
We was talking one night, jokingly like you do, and about organising Skeet. I just chucked away so it'd be nice to go back to Skeet. Clever Clogs here said, "Go, you organise it." So, okay. I decided to chuck myself in and organise. And for the next 8 years, I think, I organised every year, once a year, we came to Skeet. Well, people are still talking about these weekends. They really are. Because, I mean, we've got videos and...
Yeah, we got videos, but we haven't put them onto DVDs.
Unbelievable. The shows that we put on here, the energy that was put in by everybody.
Yeah, so every Saturday,
Fantastic.
we used the tradition that every Saturday we would put on, Saturday evening would be a show. So there were chairs organised theatre style, so maybe about 40 people.
Yeah. We
mostly ex-Brady people, but all married with children. So if it was 1990, we were in our 50s. So one year a barn dance was organised, so we all had to turn up in country western costumes, and we did a square dance, so that was hilarious.
The war years.
We did the war years, so we all had to hire
this was
army
transformed
uniforms.
into a war year where
we sang war songs.
Oh, yeah. We all got uniforms.
Another year, Gevelb did Bob Marley, where he organised his group. I did Al Jolson one year. Jackie Hart did
Jake the Peg.
Pick Up That Musket, Sam.
No.
And Jake the Peg.
Stan
Einhorn and Michael Murphy did Oliver Laurel and Hardy and sang "There's a Blue Ridge Mountain in Virginia."
If you ever come across these videos, you're in hysterics.
Yeah, we should try and find them and put them in the Bishopsgate Institute, actually, and get them converted.
They were fantastic. So we did that for what? 15 years? 12 years?
Yeah.
12 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Every year, once a year.
Yeah.
There was about 30, 35 people who used to come down. It was great fun. We lived a lot of old memories and it was great fun.
It's helped keep us young, really, and keeping down to keep coming to Skeet. You recall all of these things every time you come, and going down the lane as we're approaching Skeet is just the most fantastic feeling.
I still get excited coming down that road.
We played football here. Other clubs used to come down and we'd have a league match.
Yeah.
And
used to be
we'd play in all weathers. Yeah, there was a terrific football pitch.
A sloping football pitch. If you put the ball on the centre line, it used to roll down to one of the goals.
Yeah. Gevelb was our goalkeeper.
Yeah. I know you, believe it or not, I know.
Yeah, yeah.
We needed it. East End kids needed some kind of outlet to just branch out, become themselves, other than running around on bomb ruins and debris and what have you. This was like a revelation to us all. and we become a solid group. It was marvellous. We still are.
Yeah, I think that's my abiding memory of Skeet, that it helped create the group that still exists, and we can keep these memories going. And I haven't talked to. I just should say something about the fact that we all felt so strongly about Skeet that in 1978, when Brady moved from the East End to Edgware, the club in Edgware found that it was very difficult to get round the M25 in order to get to Skeet by the time Shabbos came in on a Friday evening, and they petitioned the Jewish Youth Fund to sell Skeet. And a group of us approached the Jewish Youth Fund and asked if we could take over the lease. And this was in 1978. And the Jewish Youth Fund said, you can, but you have to fill the house through the year to at least 50% capacity, and you have to meet all of the repairing and insurance requirements. And this house at the time had really run down. And we ran that and marketed the house to Jewish youth clubs, and where Jewish youth clubs faded away to other areas where young Jewish people went, and we ran that for over 40 years, raising charitable monies every year so that we were able to meet the requirements of the lease. And it was only maybe 15 years ago that we gave that lease up, and since then it's passed through a number of hands, but we've been fortunate enough to still be able to come down. Oh, one other thing, we used to take old people down from the Brady Friendship Club. So when people got to 65, if they'd been involved with Brady, they could belong to the Brady Friendship Club, which was a charity. And a whole group of us used to come down in the week. We would stay overnight. We would cook for 60 people. They would come in 2 coaches, and we would entertain them, give them a 3-course chicken meal with chicken soup and a dessert, and then when they went, we'd line up and sing to them and give them a goodie bag, and that really kept them going for many, many years. But no one's done that for us.
No, we don't care. When we found out years ago that it was going to be closed, me and my little self took exception to it, and I didn't want to leave Skeet with no recognition that we'd ever been here, that we never existed, and it did rile me. So I said to Mike, find me a person who can make a plaque, and we'll nail it. It was nailed into the arch up till this moment, and it reads to the Brady Boys Club and the Brady Girls Club, 1994 to 2009. This dedication is to the members of the Brady clubs and managers who used and enjoyed the facilities of Skeet. And I thought that would be forever, but obviously not.
One thing Brian didn't get right when he read that, he's a bit dyslexic, it's 1944.
What did I say?
He said 94.
Look, I can retrace that on there. Anyhow, that's...
But it was a wonderful
that was
gesture by my friend Gevelb.